Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. Today we're diving into something truly special, 3 deceptively ordinary-looking dimes that might be hiding in your change jar right now, potentially worth thousands of dollars. While most of us walk around with pocket change we barely glance at, there are certain modern coins that command astonishing prices in the right condition. These aren't ancient relics or gold doubloons. They're coins minted within many of our lifetimes that have fascinating stories and unexpected value. So check those coin collections gathering dust in your attic, because that forgotten dime could be your ticket to a major windfall. Our first treasure today is the 1991 Roosevelt dime, a coin that perfectly demonstrates how even the smallest minting errors can create extraordinary value in the numismatic world. Now, I know what you're thinking. I've probably handled dozens of 1,991 dimes in my lifetime. And you'd be right. Over 1.8 billion dimes were struck in 1991 across all 3 U.S. mints. But among those billions lies a needle in a haystack that commands serious attention from collectors. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint in 1991. During a routine production run, something unusual happened. Due to a die preparation error, a small batch of dimes was minted without the P mint mark that should appear on all Philadelphia minted coins from that era. This might seem like a minor detail, but in the collecting world, it's these precise variations that create legendary coins. The error wasn't discovered immediately, which allowed these no mint mark dimes to enter circulation alongside their correctly minted counterparts. What makes this particularly interesting is the timing. The Philadelphia Mint had only been consistently adding the P mint mark to dimes since 1980, so this error represented a strange throwback to pre-1980 production standards. Essentially, these error coins look like they're from an earlier era, creating a fascinating anomaly in the Roosevelt dime timeline. Identifying a 1991 no mint mark dime requires careful examination. Under normal circumstances, you'd find the P mint mark on the obverse, front, side of the coin, just to the right of Roosevelt's portrait near the date. On these error coins, that space is completely blank. It's crucial to check with proper magnification, as worn or damaged coins can sometimes appear to be missing a mint mark when it's actually just obscured. The date should be clear and unaltered, 1991, with no sign of the P that should accompany it. Another key authentication point is the overall quality of the strike. These weren't crudely made counterfeits, they were produced on official U.S. mint equipment with the same dies used for regular production, just without the mint mark being punched into the die. This means the rest of the design elements should appear crisp and properly aligned, with the same metallic composition as standard dimes from the era. What truly elevates this coin's status is its extreme rarity. Numismatic experts estimate that fewer than 3,000 examples exist, making it one of the scarcest modern mint errors. The exact number remains uncertain because many likely remain undiscovered in circulation or forgotten collections. Imagine that, a potential treasure hiding in plain sight, possibly sitting in your coin jar or passed along in your daily transactions. The market value of the 1991 no mint mark dime varies dramatically based on condition, as is typical with rare coins. In circulated condition, meaning coins showing normal wear from being handled and used in commerce, these dimes can fetch between $400 to $700, which is already impressive for a 10-cent coin. However, the value increases exponentially with quality. In uncirculated condition, particularly at the MS-65 grade, on the 70-point Sheldon scale that professional grading services use, values jump dramatically to $3,000 to $5,000. The true premium territory belongs to pristine examples. Coins graded MS-67 or higher have sold at specialized auctions for upwards of $10,000, with one particular specimen graded MS-68 by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, fetching an astonishing $16,800 at a heritage auction in 2018. That represents a return of 168,000 times its face value, not bad for a humble dime. What makes this story even more compelling is that the U.S. Mint never officially acknowledged this error. Unlike some famous mistakes that were documented during production, the 1991 no-mint mark dime slipped through quality control entirely undetected. It was only after collectors began noticing these anomalies in circulation that the numismatic community became aware of their existence. This adds an element of mystery that collectors find irresistible. There's also an interesting psychological aspect to the appeal of this coin. Unlike some rare coins that are immediately recognizable as special editions or commemoratives, the 1991 no-mint mark dime looks deceptively ordinary at first glance. This creates what collectors call a sleeper, a coin whose value isn't apparent unless you know exactly what you're looking for. In today's information age, these kinds of hidden treasures become increasingly scarce, which only enhances their mystique and desirability. The discovery story adds another fascinating layer. The first documented finding came from a bank teller in Pittsburgh who noticed something unusual about a dime in her cash drawer in late 1991. Being a casual collector, she set it aside, eventually showing it to a local coin dealer who confirmed its significance. Within months, collectors across the eastern United States were meticulously examining rolls of dimes, hoping to find this elusive error. This created a mini treasure hunt that continues to this day. For those wondering about authentication, it's worth noting that both major grading services, PCGS and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, recognize this variety and will certify genuine examples. This official recognition is crucial in the collecting world, as it establishes the legitimacy of these error coins and provides a standardized assessment of their condition. A certified 1991 no-mint mark dime will come in a sealed holder with a grade and authentication number, eliminating any doubt about its authenticity. There's also the matter of preserved collections. When the error was discovered, several forward-thinking collectors acquired multiple examples, creating what are known as runs, sets of the same coin in different grade points. These curated collections occasionally come to market, offering a rare opportunity to acquire a certified example with known provenance. One such collection, the Pittsburgh Group, named after the city where the first discovery was made, contained 23 examples ranging from -58 Australian dollars, almost uncirculated, to Ms. 67. When this collection was sold at auction in 2007, it fetched over $120,000 total. Beyond purely monetary considerations, the 1991 no-mint mark dime represents something special about coin collecting as a hobby. It reminds us that not all valuable numismatic items are ancient, gold, or immediately recognizable as treasures. Sometimes, the most valuable pieces are hiding in plain sight, rewarding those with knowledge, patience, and attention to detail. This democratic aspect of collecting, where anyone might find something valuable in their pocket change, keeps the hobby accessible and exciting for enthusiasts at all levels. As we close this section on the 1991 no-mint mark dime, I encourage you to take a closer look at the coins in your possession. Remember that the difference between a common 10-cent piece and a 4-figure collectible can be as subtle as a missing letter. The thrill of discovery, that moment when you realize you're holding something truly special, is what makes coin collecting one of the most enduring and rewarding hobbies in the world. And even if you don't find this particular rarity, the search itself connects you to a rich tradition of numismatic exploration that spans generations. The 1999 Roosevelt dime story begins with the United States Mint's production standards during this period. The late 1990s represented a transition time for the Mint as they balanced mass production with quality control. During 1999, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.4 billion dimes, while the Denver facility added another 1.3 billion. That's nearly 3 billion dimes released in a single year. Under normal circumstances, such massive production would make these coins incredibly common and virtually worthless beyond face value. However, something unusual happened with the 1999 mintage, particularly those from the Philadelphia facility. Despite the enormous production numbers, truly well-struck examples with full details proved exceptionally difficult to find. The majority of 1999 P dimes exhibited weak strikes, with details on Roosevelt's hair often appearing flat and indistinct. The reverse suffered similar problems, with the bands on the torch frequently showing incomplete details. Numismatic researchers have proposed several theories for this widespread striking issue. Some suggest that the mint was using dies longer than optimal to maintain production quotas, resulting in progressively weaker strikes as the dies wore down. Others point to possible adjustments in striking pressure to extend die life at the expense of detail sharpness. Whatever the cause, the result was a sea of mediocre strikes with very few standout examples. This phenomenon created what experts call a condition rarity, a coin that might be common in average grades but becomes extraordinarily scarce at the high end of the grading scale. While you might easily find a 1999 P dime in MS-63 or MS-64 condition, examples graded MS-67 or above are genuinely rare treasures. The statistics from professional grading services confirm this pattern. PCGS has certified thousands of 1999 P dimes in grades MS-63 through MS-65, but fewer than 100 examples have received the coveted MS-67 designation, and only a handful have achieved MS-68. The full bands designation adds another layer of complexity and value to these coins. For Roosevelt dimes, full bands, or FB, indicates that the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse show complete separation and detail. This characteristic is particularly challenging to find on 1999 P dimes due to the striking issues mentioned earlier. A 1999 P dime with both a high numerical grade, MS-67 or better, and the full bands designation represents a perfect storm of rarity that commands serious premium prices. In terms of market value, the differences are striking. A typical uncirculated 1999 P dime might sell for just $2 to $3, barely more than face value. Move up to an MS-65, and you're still looking at only $8 to $12. But an MS-67 example will typically command $150 to $250, while an MS-67 with full bands can bring $400 to $600. At the absolute pinnacle, the few MS-68 full bands examples that have come to market have sold for between $3,000 to $4,500, an astonishing premium for a coin with a face value of 10 cents and a mintage in the billions. One particularly notable auction occurred in January 2019, when a PCGS-certified MS-68 plus full bands 1999 P dime, the finest known example, sold for an incredible $6,000. This sale sent shockwaves through the collecting community and highlighted just how valuable condition rarity can be, even for modern coins produced in massive quantities. What makes the hunt for superb 1999 P dimes especially intriguing is that they remain available to find, in the wild, so to speak. Unlike ancient rarities or coins with obviously special characteristics, these high-grade dimes look essentially identical to common examples to the untrained eye. This creates a genuine treasure hunt opportunity for knowledgeable collectors who understand what to look for. Many serious collectors still purchase original bank-wrapped rolls of 1999 P dimes, carefully examining each one in hopes of finding a gem-quality example. The process of identifying a potentially valuable 1999 P dime requires attention to several key areas. First, examine Roosevelt's hair. The strands should show clear separation and distinct lines rather than appearing flat or mushy. Next, check the torch on the reverse. The horizontal bands should be clearly defined with visible separation between them. The overall surface should be free of significant marks, abrasions, or spots, as pristine surfaces are essential for achieving those top grades. Finally, look for coins with exceptional luster. The surface should have a satiny or frosty appearance that seems to glow under proper lighting. This focus on condition has created an interesting dynamic in the market for these coins. While most collectors would typically ignore modern dimes entirely, specialized collectors now scrutinize 1999 P specimens with extraordinary care. This has given rise to what some dealers call the condition game, a specialized form of collecting where the focus is not on acquiring rare dates or mint marks, but rather on finding the absolute finest examples of otherwise common coins. The 1999 P dime also benefits from its connection to the American economy at a pivotal time. These coins were minted during the dot-com boom, when the economy was surging and the future seemed limitless. The millennium was approaching, bringing both optimism and Y2K concerns. For collectors who lived through this era, these coins serve as tangible connections to that specific moment in American history, adding an element of nostalgia to their appeal. There's also a fascinating educational aspect to collecting these condition rarities. To properly evaluate them, collectors must develop a sophisticated understanding of the minting process, strike quality, luster, and preservation. This makes them excellent teaching coins for introducing collectors to the more technical aspects of numismatics. Many coin clubs and educational organizations use examples like the 1999 P dime to illustrate concepts like die state, strike pressure, and the importance of proper storage and handling. For investors and serious collectors, the 1999 P dime in superb condition represents an interesting speculation opportunity. As awareness of their scarcity continues to grow, and as the overall population of pristine examples inevitably decreases due to mishandling and environmental damage, the remaining gems may appreciate significantly. Several prominent dealers have noted that demand for top-grade modern issues has increased substantially over the past decade, with younger collectors particularly drawn to coins from their own lifetimes rather than classic rarities from distant eras. The hunt for these premium examples has also spawned a collecting specialty known as modern condition census, focusing on acquiring the absolute finest known examples of recent issues. For collectors who can't afford classic rarities like the $1,804 or 1913 Liberty nickel, building a collection of condition census modern coins offers a challenging alternative that still results in a truly world-class holding. A 1999 P dime graded MS 68 plus full bands might not have the immediate name recognition of a 1909 SVDB cent, but it's actually much rarer in that specific grade. There's an interesting psychological component to the value of these coins as well. How can a coin with a mintage of 1.4 billion possibly be worth thousands of dollars? The answer lies in the human tendency to appreciate exceptionally well-preserved items. Think of it like finding a factory-sealed, mint-condition toy from your childhood that originally sold for a few dollars but now commands thousands from collectors seeking pristine examples. The same principle applies to these dimes. It's not about absolute scarcity, but relative scarcity in perfect condition. So the next time you receive change or come across a jar of old coins, take a moment to look more closely. Remember the stories of these three remarkable dimes and consider the possibility that something equally special might be waiting for your discerning eye to discover it. In numismatics, as in life, sometimes the most unassuming objects hold the greatest surprises. Until next time, happy hunting, and may your change be filled with hidden treasures. Now let's turn our attention to our second featured coin, the 1989 Roosevelt dime. At first glance, this might seem like just another everyday dime from the late 80s, but certain variations of this coin tell a fascinating story about minting procedures and have become prized possessions for serious collectors. The year 1989 was notable for the U.S. Mint. It marked the end of the Reagan era and the beginning of the George H.W. Bush presidency. More importantly for numismatists, it was a period when the Mint was implementing various production changes and refinements to its processes. During this transitional time, several interesting varieties emerged across multiple denominations, with the 1989 dime featuring some of the most collectible. Most notable among these is the 1989 P dime with a dramatic double die obverse. For those new to collecting terminology, a double die occurs during the manufacturing of the die itself, not during the striking of the coin. When the hub, the master die, impresses the design onto a working die, if there's any movement or misalignment between impressions, certain elements of the design may appear doubled on all coins struck from that die. This isn't a case of a coin being struck twice, it's a fundamental error in the die that then transfers to every coin it produces. The 1989 double die dime shows distinctive doubling most prominently in the word Liberty and in Roosevelt's profile. With proper magnification, you can see clear separation in the letters, particularly in the B, E, and R. The doubling is also apparent in Roosevelt's ear, eye, and the contours of his face. What makes this variety especially interesting is that the doubling is visible even to the naked eye in higher-grade specimens, which is relatively uncommon for modern mint errors. Discovering this double die variety in your collection requires careful examination. You'll need at least a 5x magnifying glass, though a 10x loupe is preferable. Good lighting is essential, natural daylight or a directional lamp that can cast slight shadows to highlight the doubled features. Focus your attention first on the word Liberty, which shows the most pronounced doubling. If you see what appears to be a shadow or thickening of these letters, you might have hit the jackpot. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 730 million dimes in 1989, but numismatic researchers estimate that only about 3,000 to 5,000 examples of the significant double die variety exist. This rarity contributes substantially to their value and collector appeal. Unlike some mint errors that were caught early and destroyed, these double die dimes entered circulation normally, meaning they could potentially still be found in pocket change or bank rolls, though the odds diminish with each passing year. What truly elevates the status of the 1989 double die dime is its inclusion in The Cherry Picker's Guide to Rare Die Varieties, the authoritative reference for die varieties and errors. Listed as FS 021, this official recognition cemented its place in numismatic history and helped standardize its identification among collectors and dealers. Being in the book is a significant milestone for any variety, separating acknowledged, documented rarities from merely unusual specimens. The market values for these coins have shown impressive stability and growth over the past 2 decades. In circulated condition, even with significant wear, a 1989 double die dime typically commands $75 to $150, already a substantial premium over face value. In uncirculated condition, the numbers become much more impressive. An MS-63 example, choice uncirculated, will typically bring $300 to $500, while premium examples graded MS-65 or higher can fetch $800 to $1,200. For the finest known specimens, those graded MS-67 or MS-68 by PCGS or NGC, prices have reached truly remarkable levels. In a 2020 heritage auction, an MS-68 example with full bands, indicating exceptional strike quality on the reverse torch, sold for an astonishing $6,600. What's particularly notable about this price point is that it represents a significant increase from similar sales just 5 years earlier, suggesting growing collector appreciation for this modern rarity. Beyond the primary doubled die variety, there are several other 1989 dime variations worth mentioning. The 1989 P close AM variety shows the A and M in America, with their legs nearly touching, contrary to the standard wide AM design of that era. While not as valuable as the double die, these close AM varieties still command premiums of $20 to $50 in uncirculated condition. There's also a minor repunched mintmark variety, where the P shows slight doubling under magnification. What makes the 1989 double die dime particularly interesting from a historical perspective is its timing. It emerged during a period when the U.S. Mint was transitioning from older production methods to more modern computerized design and minting processes. This transitional period in the late 1980s and early 1990s produced several notable varieties across multiple denominations, creating what some specialists refer to as the last great era of traditional minting errors, before digital technology reduced their frequency. There's a fascinating story about the discovery of this variety that illustrates the collaborative nature of numismatic research. The first documented identification came not from a professional dealer or researcher, but from a bank teller in Minnesota who noticed something unusual about a dime received in a customer's deposit in early 1990. Being a casual collector, he set it aside and eventually showed it to members of his local coin club. Word spread through collector networks until it reached the attention of prominent era variety specialist Alan Herbert, who published the first formal description in Coin World magazine in June 1990. This publication sparked a nationwide search, with collectors carefully examining rolls of 1989 dimes hoping to find examples. Several more were discovered in the Midwest, suggesting that the error die might have been used primarily for coins distributed to that region. This regional connection adds another layer of interest for collectors with ties to Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Illinois, where most early discoveries occurred. Authentication of the 1989 double die dime requires careful examination. Both PCGS and NGC recognize this variety and will attribute it specifically on their certification labels, typically with the FS-021 designation. However, it's worth noting that there are lesser double dies from 1989 that show minimal doubling, as well as cases of machine doubling, a different phenomenon that occurs during striking rather than die production, that can sometimes be confused with true double dies. Professional certification is always recommended for coins that appear to be significant varieties, especially before making substantial purchases. For collectors, the 1989 double die dime represents an interesting investment opportunity within the realm of modern numismatics. Unlike many contemporary coins whose values remain relatively static, this variety has demonstrated consistent appreciation over the years. Part of this stems from increased awareness. As more collectors learn about its existence, demand naturally increases for the fixed supply of examples. Additionally, many specimens have been damaged or cleaned over the years, further reducing the population of desirable examples and driving up prices for those in original, undamaged condition. As more examples of the 1989 double die dime are permanently removed from circulation and preserved in collections, the remaining undiscovered specimens become increasingly valuable as potential finds. This creates a continuing incentive for collectors to examine their coins carefully, ensuring that the hunt for this modern treasure remains active more than 3 decades after its production. Whether you're a specialized error collector or simply someone who appreciates numismatic history, the 1989 double die dime represents a fascinating chapter in modern U.S. coinage that continues to unfold to this day.